What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with Hadi Choopan posting an old posing update that was taken during this year's Arnold Classic prep. But more importantly, it is the message that he gave to his competition, and you guys can check that in his caption. So Hadi has to be one of the most fierce Olympia competitor of this era. I'm sure all you guys remember the year 2020 and one of the greatest of all time. Phil Heath made his comeback and he tried to win his 8th Sandow. Now he wasn't successful in achieving that, and it was Hadi Choopan who challenged him for a pose down on the stage, and that is something we rarely saw, because throughout Phil Heath's reign, we did not see a lot of competitors challenging Phil Heath, and that is how competitive Hadi Choopan really is. So Hadi is such an incredible athlete. He's a master of everything, and not just the conditioning, everything that is related to bodybuilding, and that starts with training, eating clean throughout the year, bringing that insane level of conditioning, his density, his muscle maturity, and most importantly, his command on the stage when he's posing. That is just exceptional. So was there even a single moment during his last two contests, the Arnold, Ohio and UK, where anyone saw Hadi Choopan struggling with his stomach, especially when he was posing, or even during the transitions? I don't think we would find one, because when Hadi Choopan is posing, it seems like he can do that forever. And even his fellow competitors, they also say this, that he is so damn composed on the stage, and it never looks like that he is actually getting tired. So Hadi is on a mission this year, and there is a mutual consensus that Hadi Choopan and Derek Lunsford, they are going to be number 1 and number 2 again this year, just the way it has been for the last couple of years. But do let me know what you guys think. At 10 weeks out, who do you guys have winning? Next up, we have an update from Blessing Avodipo. So he has been training very hard for months on end. And for those of you guys who do not know, he hasn't stepped back on the stage since Flex Pro Italy last year. So it has already been a year-long growth phase, and it is actually still going, which is exactly what Blessing needed in order to improve, in order to bring up his legs specifically. So he did the same back in 2021 when he lost to multiple guys, including the mutant Nick Walker at Indy and the New York Pro. So he took 1 year off and came back so much better. And he actually ended up winning both Indy and the New York Pro in 2022. And he made his Olympia debut in 2022 as well. I believe he was working with George Farah at that time. And those were some of his best looks ever. So Blessing's upper half is just exceptional. That is so great. In fact, the man is extremely gifted in how round and 3D his muscle bellies look up top. Especially when he is truly on. When he is in that contest ready shape, he looks stunning. But his biggest weakness, those are his legs, and how they shrink so hard when he pulls the water. And that is exactly what happened last year as well, when he could not even place top 4 in a show that he was expecting to win. Because the thing is, he loses so much density, so much volume on his legs when he is in the peak week, when he is getting rid of all the water. So with another long off season under his belt, we expect to see some major upgrades by Blessing whenever he steps on stage next time. So far he hasn't made any official announcements regarding what show he's gonna do next, so he isn't posting any physique updates. So the chances of him competing before this year's Mr. Olympia, they are almost 0. So maybe he can do one of those post-Olympia shows, or better, he can do the Arnold Classic 2025 and announce himself big time. So both Martin Fitzwater and his training partner, Brett Wilkin, they take a lot of motivation from Branch Warren, who we all know is one of the most hardcore bodybuilders from the past. And Martin was actually being coached by Branch Warren up until 2022. The last show these guys did together, that was the Arnold UK 2022. So he still has a great bond with Branch. So Brett Wilkin posting his recent updates and tagging Branch Warren, that is nothing but a big sign of respect to the 2 times Arnold Classic champion. So Branch was such a great bodybuilder in his prime, and he truly believed in outworking the competition who had better genetics, better shapes than him. So Branch's physique wasn't exactly pleasing to look at, and neither was he the biggest guy on the stage, but he was able to achieve so many great things in his career. The best one might be beating the defending Olympia champion, Dexter Jackson, in 2009. So apart from winning the Olympia, Branch won every single title. So coming back to Brett, the closer he is getting to this year's Legion Sports, the better he is looking. So the expectation right now is to win this year's Legion Sports, and also earn the Olympia qualification for 2024 and make his Olympia debut this year with his partner Martin Fitzwater. Because the thing is, once a bodybuilder, he gets those digestion problems. that can be the start of the end of their professional career. Because the amount of food these guys eat, and specifically Brett Wilkin, the amount of calories he has to intake in order to maintain his muscle mass, that is just so much. So getting to the Olympia stage, that will be a huge accomplishment, considering that he's coming back after encountering a variable that can end someone's career. So hopefully he will show up at his all-time best, and we will get to see him on the Olympia stage this year. Next up, we have an update from the former Miss Olympia champion, Brandon Kerry, all the way from Oxygen Gym, Kuwait. So he did confirm who is coaching him for this year's Miss Olympia, and that isn't of course Abdullah. But at the same time, you guys will be surprised to see that this isn't a big name in the bodybuilding industry as a guru, and that is Ahmad Al-Laki and Amiral Abdullah. So after a heavy leg training, Brandon was spotted eating a whole lot of food, and Brandon is a guy who eats a lot of carbs, even in the prep phase, because he is one of those guys who grows into the show. So he's still more round and 3D than most guys in this year's Miss Olympia lineup. But the thing is that is only limited to his upper body, his upper half. Now if only his legs were as good as his upper body, he would have been unstoppable. But still, I have to say, years from now, when people will look back at the past, Brandon will always be Miss Olympia. And not only just that, he will be remembered as a guy who went from placing dead last in 2016 to first in 2019. One of the biggest success stories in the bodybuilding history. So, what can we expect from Brandon this year? Well, all these young guys, like Andrew Jacked and Hunter Labrada, they push him outside of the top 5. Well, the thing is, he has been counted out every single year. But there is just something about his physique that always convinces the judges to give him a higher spot, even when he isn't the most right guy up there. So until these guys actually push him out, it's a mistake counting him out. So looking at the top 6 from last year's Miss Olympia Classic Physique, how will that 6th place finisher, Michael the Bull, do this year? So originally he announced that he will be doing Dubai Pro, but his body needed a break because he was competing non-stop for the last few years. And by the way, he was coming in improved from one show to the next. So we know how tight the competition is in Classic Physique at the Olympia level. So breaking into that top 6, that was one hell of an accomplishment. So it is really crazy that Michael was also one of those guys who was actually able to beat Wesley Weezers less than 1 year ago at the Olympia stage. And now Wesley Weezers is being considered as one of the most biggest title contender for this year's Miss Olympia in Classic Physique, the guy who is gonna challenge Chris Bumstead. So Michael the Bull admitted that Wesley winning this year's Arnold, that really motivated him a lot to do better. And that is why he looked way better in UK compared to his package in Columbus. So one can easily say that Michael the Bull coached himself very successfully in 2024. He's known for being the most right guy in the bodybuilding world, not just in Classic Physique. And that is a high standard to live up to. So far, Michael's Olympia trajectory, that has been extremely impressive. So he was 10th in 2022 and 6th in 2023. So where did you guys have him this year? And also hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video. And smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.